Welcome to the Chicago Bears Podcast, a presentation of ESPN Chicago, Chicago's home for sports. Here's your host, Pat, the designer.
Bear down, Bears fans. Welcome into another week of the Chicago Bears podcast. Y'all not worried about the first question we got to ask. Lance Briggs in the building. Where are you?
Listen, this is all about dedication right here and my commitment, you know what I mean, to this podcast. Listen, I came out to Albuquerque, New Mexico for my son's baseball tournament.
Okay.
You know, they took 5th place. And now on the way back to hot Arizona, the desert. And I couldn't miss this podcast. So I'm just letting you know the commitment and the dedication. Okay, it's hard work right now. It's hard work trying to be on here with you, Pat.
We respect the commitment and the dedication, but are you driving with your knee right now? What's going on?
Listen. There are things I cannot confirm nor deny. Okay, I cannot confirm nor deny, but I will say this right now: we're in good hands with Allstate.
With Allstate. Hey, he kind of hold on. I don't know if we've ever brought this up. He kind of looked like the Allstate guy.
No.
Allstate guy to him.
No, and my voice is not deep enough.
You could get it there. We got a good episode today coming to you guys, man, straight from Lance's whip. We got to talk about Mike Vick and Justin Fields working together. We have somebody who played against Mike Vick in the building. Mm-hmm. Very well, might I add, as we'll get into that. So we'll touch on that. And then we do have to talk about strays that are being thrown around the NFC North from Cam Jordan. He's coming in hot at one of the NFC North quarterbacks. And then Lance is out west, as y'all can see, New Mexico. We got aliens in the west apparently over the weekend, so you got to watch out for that. Relax on that.
Yes,
Lance.
Relax.
Relax.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll be on the lookout out here, man.
Talking about from the sky.
Absolutely.
And finally, NBA Finals talk a little bit, getting the mentality of what's it like to have the back against the wall, and of course, the funniest moments of the season. All that and more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Let's get into this thing. First quarter is here.
First quarter.
Lance, Mike Vick, and Justin Fields having a conversation on the field. You got to play against Mike Vick. You got to see everything that Mike Vick could bring in both cities, right? What he did in Atlanta, and then also how he played in Philly. Question that I have for you, first things first, what can Justin Fields realistically learn from Mike Vick as somebody who pretty much saw his whole career up close and personal? What do you think Justin Fields can take away from sitting with Vick, meeting with Vick, and instituting some things that he did?
I think it's more of what can he not learn. You know, there's so much. You know, you look at the landscape of the NFL right now, and you have quarterbacks that are running all over the place. You know what I mean? You have quarterback called runs.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not saying that Michael Vick was the first to do it, but he certainly revolutionized it, you know, and he took it to a whole new level. You know, I'm a big Randall Cunningham fan, and I remember Randall when he was with the Eagles. You know, you talk about Fran Tarkenton. There's Arch Manning. There's a lot of quarterbacks that ran. Steve Young, but they didn't do it the way that Mike Vick did it, and you knew that was coming when you saw how explosive he was in college. You know, so you're talking about a guy that's in that 4.4 range that's going to outrun DBs and linebackers and defenses, and so you and also have a laser arm. So yes, Justin Fields hanging out with Michael Vick. Anybody who's been able to run and throw the ball in the NFL has to be a Michael Vick fan or have learned or taken something of a piece of Michael Vick's game and added to their own.
Yeah, and Justin got to see it, right? Justin being from Georgia, I believe he did grow up a Falcons fan as well. So got to see a lot of what Mike Vick was able to do. I think the interesting thing that I want to see him really take away from Vick's game, Vick talked about this on Shannon Sharp's podcast. He said, sometimes I would go out there trying to prove to people that I can throw the football. I wasn't as focused on, okay, this is going to get us the win. My goal out here is to prove that I can throw the football with the best of them. And he would go out there and he'd be able to do it and he'd win games and stuff like that. But right, like, is there any of that where you look at it and say the biggest thing that he can take away might be focus on what's going to get you the win, not what's going to win you the press conference?
I do. I agree on focus on what's going to get you the win. But there's also there comes a time like at some point in your NFL career, your legs can't be the focal point of the success of your offense.
Mm-hmm.
For the early part of Steve Young's career, he would just take off and run all the time. But when he led San Francisco to a Super Bowl, it was with his arm. And to me, that's evolving. That's growth and showing growth, and I think that's one of the things that Michael Vick, as a tutor and spending time with Justin Fields, I think that's a pivotal part of his tutelage to Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I just think that growth wise, we saw so much of Justin Fields' legs last year, and granted, he didn't have much to throw to, and he didn't have a lot up front. He did what we had to do.
Yeah.
But with weapons and an offensive line and the ability to hand the ball off to somebody who can run the ball, maybe we can save those legs and use them, by necessary. I look at it like a one-hand catch. You don't practice one-hand catches. One-hand catches are done by necessity.
Yeah.
You practice the two-hand catch, and so and that's how I see Justin Fields. We know we have the danger and the element of being able to run, but we need to be able to pass the ball and run the ball effectively.
That's so interesting. What did you see from Mike, right, when you guys were going up against him? Because Mike efficiently did change himself from the I have to run the football, I have to be this guy in Atlanta that's using my legs to make plays, to the okay, I'm a better passer now, I'm throwing the ball. But Mike could not. I mean, he beat you guys twice in your time there. And I mean, he has a 2-6 record. You guys really kept him under wraps, even with him using his legs. Everybody thinks about, a couple of those games where Mike popped off, but realistically, Mike did not have a successful career against the Chicago Bears defense. What did you see from him kind of as a runner, turning himself to a passer, and even in that, still not being able to have success against you guys?
Well, for Mike Vick, one of the things that stood out for him was rollout, and if you're going to rush him, you rush him from the left side to make him roll out to his right side, because his accuracy drastically drops down when he has to roll out to his left or roll out to his right rather than his left. As the left-hand quarterback, him rolling to his left, his completion percentage would jump sky high.
Right.
So we needed to, if we're going to flush him to the left, and we're going to get after him that way. You always have to be disciplined in your lanes with a guy like him, because, when you think you have the angle, he's gonna eat that angle up with his speed. But that was one of the things. So when you look at a Justin Fields and he scrambles, whether he scrambles left or he scrambles right, you want to start to look at what the accuracy is.
Right.
One of the, playing against Aaron Rodgers, this was a crazy stat. And we were always trying to find out, if we flush him to the left or we flush him to the right. And at one point during his career, we're like, he's 100% when he flushes to his right, and he's 99.3% when he flushes to the left. So it's like we don't really know what to do on that one.
Tommy, get up the middle. That's all we got.
Right.
Tommy, get up the middle.
Yeah, you got to get to him.
It's so, when I look at Vic's game, especially just being the fan looking on, right? We all were in awe of how he used his legs, but I really loved his time in Philly, because I thought that, he really got to show, okay, I'm not just what I came into the league at. I've developed a lot. I've changed my game. Getting with Andy Reid also helps you a lot in that situation. When was Mike the most dangerous? Was he more dangerous in Philly, or was he more dangerous in Atlanta to you?
Ooh. It's hard to say. I think he was dangerous no matter what team he played for.
Right.
You know, he's had a lot of weapons in both places, but you know, in Philly, he was throwing lasers and he was throwing it on the money.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to argue against Philly, but in Atlanta when he was younger, you were so worried about him beating you with his legs. You know, you were so worried about that and concerned with it, and he was, you know, shoot. I'm trying to think of the tight end he had, Algie Crumpler. I mean, he was lighting Algie Crumpler up all day long. Algie Crumpler was a all Pro Bowl tight end during his time there.
Yeah.
You know, so he wasn't just using his legs; he was utilizing his players. But he was a scare with his legs, no matter where he was. So I thought he was more complete quarterback than he might have gotten credit for, because I think he was a heck of a pass thrower, and we watch him on film. We're like, man, this guy throws it on a beat, and he throws it at 100 miles an hour.
It's when I hear Mike talk about it, he basically echoes those sentiments where there was a lot where he kept hearing in the media, you know, you got to stop him with his legs. You got to stop him with his legs. And he wanted to just prove so bad that I can throw it. So like you said, he just didn't get that credit for it. But it's funny because I always thought of Mike Vick as the do anything you need to get the job done quarterback. And I feel like quarterback is the only position where we don't value that, doing anything to get the job done, right? Like Justin Fields last season, all anybody can talk about is, oh my God, he used his legs so much last season. Nobody talks about, it's out of necessity.
Well, I disagree with you on that. Just because you look at a John Elway, you look at a John Elway, and it was, you know, he was a scrambler. He was a find a way to get it done type of guy. You know, Brett Favre, same kind of field where, you know, he would chuck the ball underhanded, just any way, in way, shape, or form to advance the play to help his team win.
Right.
And Michael Vick, it's different for him than it was for everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, and now you can draw your own conclusions for why it's different for him than it was for anybody else, but he was doing the same things. You know, listen, I'm going to do whatever it is, whatever it takes to help my team win. And to be honest with you, that in some of those times, if he would have probably had that in his head rather than I want to prove that I'm a thrower, you know, it might have changed some of those situations.
Yeah, no, 100%. What's your best Mike Vick story that you got? What you going up against Vick? Either you laid a boom on him, or you catch him and he's a little too quick, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't realize he was that. What's your best Vick story from playing against him?
Oh man. Oh yeah, here we go. So we're in Philly. And you know, a lot of times before games, you know, we would take Spark. We would take Spark and like Zip Fizz. You know, it was called like Gakic. They had Gakic pills or whatever. So all of it was allowed. You know, and I'm sure it still is today. But Anthony Adams, he had made a concoction.
Yeah.
Like all of it mixed together. You know, it was a cold night in Philly, and he goes, and he had been doing this for a few weeks, and he's like, Briggs, you got to try my concoction. You're gonna love it. And I had passed on it a few weeks, but I think I might have forgotten something, like one of the Spark packets or something. Yeah. And he said, hey, do you want to try it? I said, give me some. So he had mixed it all together, and I drank this drink. Now, when that game started, I was balls to the wall. I mean, I was flying this way, that way, and I think it was a Monday night. So Gruden he was calling the game, and he made this comment. He's like, Briggs is flying around. I just haven't seen him flying around like this before. You know, he's just making these comments, and I remember running down Mike Vick on one of the plays. You know, and when I ran him down, Anthony Adams was in the huddle. He was like, "You feeling it, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, I feel it. I definitely feel it."
He gave you the juice, man. He gave you Mike's secret stuff. His spices secret
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
a dangerous game to play. A little jittery in it, a little jittery.
Well, the next week I go to Anthony Adams again. I said, hey, listen, I need that concoction again. And he said they discontinued one of the products.
You was doing too good, man. They saw it. They was like, nah, we can't have Lance doing this, man. We can't have Lance doing this.
Of course. Too good to be true, man.
Let's finish it on this, man. Mike Vick, where you got him right now? Guaranteed Hall of Famer?
Well, yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Absolutely, I think he's a Hall of Famer. When you say that, I think of all the guys that aren't in that should be in.
Yeah.
And so when I think of Mike Vick, I do think he's a Hall of Fame player, but I look at Olin Kreutz and I believe Olin believes he should be in there. You want to talk about the Hall of Famers, that's the first name that comes to my mind. And there's a bunch of guys that are coming up now that are going to be Torrey Holt. There are guys that deserve to be in there. So do I think so? He's a Hall of Famer? Yes, but you have to wait in line.
Is Lance Briggs going in before him? We gonna get a Lance Briggs in the call?
He should. Hey, listen, he should. He should. Listen, it shouldn't be done on popularity.
Yeah,
it should be done on your body of work. All right, and so with that being said, my day's coming.
Woo! I love it. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is my favorite part about doing the podcast with you, Lance. You so confident in what you did on the field, dog. Like you're like, you're like, hey, bro, listen, it's coming. Like, stop playing with me. This ain't
yeah. Man.
I love it. I love the confidence, man. I hope that we still doing this podcast together there, so that the next day I can be on here talking about Hall of Famer Lance Briggs in the building.
And then I'll be on the other end saying, I told you. I told you, Pat.
Hey, hopefully at a Speedway gas station at the same time. Hey, let's get into the second quarter.
Second quarter.
As we keeping this thing moving along because, Lance, we got strays flying around the NFC North today. I was not expecting to wake up to this from Cam Jordan. We got the video on that. Let's play that real quick for the pod.
You see a lot, you see a little. If you're so focused on what's next, where's his hand? Where does he like to throw these hands? You're so worried about all these other factors, you're slowing yourself down thinking. And in this game, you all, like everybody knows, a fast wrong decision can be a right decision. And a fast right decision, you're a winner. And a slow right decision, get your ass on the bench. Because there's somebody out here that's going to be moving at a different speed. Slow right decisions, we love them. We call him Kirk Cousins.
Good move, you got blocked.
Slow right decisions, we love them. Call him Kirk Cousins. First off, Lance, did Kirk deserve that stray?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's not out there to lie to anybody. He's calling it as he sees it. You know what I mean? Everybody has their truth. Everybody has their truth, and that's the way we're gonna call it. So I'm not gonna call it Cam Jordan the liar. He's played against him plenty of times. He knows his quarterbacks. He knows how he's gonna approach each one of those games.
Is he speaking facts on that though? When you talk about quarterback decision making, that's one thing we've talked about a ton with Justin Fields and how he's been able to go through his reads and stuff like that. Is that something that the defense is trying to do, play in and play out, where we're looking for the guys to make the right decision, but maybe at the wrong speed, or forcing them, of course, to make the wrong decision?
Yeah, you gotta get yourself to play the game at a high speed, and the more you think, the more it slows you down. Because you're worried, okay, is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? Is he going to do this? I tell the youngsters at the high school, play what you see, not what you think might happen. All right. And if whatever you think might happen happens while you're headed to where to what you see headed to the ball, just plant your foot and sprint there. a lot of what our mistakes can be made up with our effort. You know, so if we're all running to the ball, you know, we can make up for mistakes on the way there.
Yeah.
You know, and on top of that, you know, if from our effort we can get a player down. I'll give you an example. Our freshmen at Basha High School, you know, they had a sevens tournament about a week ago. And in this tournament, we have one of our corners slips. The receiver catches the ball, but one of our linebackers, he's hustling his tail off, catches up to him, tags him. We have them in the red zone. We end up getting the pick in the red zone.
Right.
But we don't get that pick if it's not for the effort. You know, there was no hesitation. He flew right through it. And the coaching tip on that is, why isn't everybody else running to the ball with the kind of same effort as our middle linebacker?
Yeah.
If we get everybody running to the ball like that, that's when we become dangerous.
When you see,
you know, and go ahead.
I was gonna say, when you see him say the quick wrong decision could be the one that makes the right play, how often does something like that play out? Because I thought that was, first off, that's a bar. Let's just give him credit on that. That's a bar. But like, how often do you see something like that where, right, like you break on the ball just off of instinct, not really, you know, going, okay, this is what they normally do in this situation, and that turns into the right play, even though based on how the play is called, that's not where you were supposed to be?
Listen, I don't know if you watched any of the games that I played in my career, but
almost all.
I shot the gap a lot. I shot the gaps a lot, and you know, whether it was instinctual or I got the first movement. I mean, there were times where I was showing 3 gaps away from my responsibility.
Yeah.
And our coach, you know, I see him on the sideline. He's like, what are you doing? You know, and Brian's at the line like, hey, you got a long way to go. And I'm like, I know, you know, and the snap of the ball, come around the corner, and running back never see me coming, bow, make the play. Right. You know, there was a lot of trust that was built on the coaches saying, hey, listen, I want you to freely move around. You know where your gap is. Just do what you do, you know, and I think I got to a point where the trust level, you know, as long as you play fast, you know what your responsibility is, you're going to be all right. You know, you're going to be all right, you know, and sometimes you do make mistakes, but if you're making it at full speed, you know, you fall into stuff. I'm telling you, you make more plays than you don't, and you'll be surprised at what you can do.
What's the favorite Lance the moment that you had in your career? That moment where like your coach is like, "Why'd you do?" Oh, never mind, you just killed that man. All right, we're gonna live with that. What's your favorite one?
Yeah, I was just telling you, I had lined up 3 gaps away. We were playing Green Bay, and we had a stunt coming with our defensive end folding in. So that whole left side, like, that's all my responsibility. And it was to the short field, so it was like the numbers to the sideline, or just inside the numbers or so, maybe 4 yards inside the numbers, and I'm showing in the A gap. Right, I'm showing in the A gap, and you know, Brian's like, "Hey, you know what you have, right?" You know, as they come up to the line, I'm like, "Yeah, I know what I got." You know, and as soon as the ball snapped, you know, I sprint right down the line of scrimmage, and as soon as I turn the corner, I think it's Ryan Clark maybe that's running the ball. Yeah, I think it's Ryan Clark that's running the ball, and he doesn't even see me. He doesn't see me. I turn the corner. He turns the corner. Hit him. It's a big play. The stadium goes crazy. And that's when we're playing against Green Bay. It's just understanding what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I remember showing in the A gap, knowing that our tackle was going to slant to the A gap, and I was just going to flip around. It might have been the same game. And Aaron Rodgers comes up. He thinks I'm blitzing in that A gap. He calls a play to the B gap. I come around the B gap, strip the running back. Julius Peppers gets the fumble. It's just a huge play.
Yeah.
But those are some of the mind games or the trust and being able to play fast and understanding where your responsibilities are. You get to that level, your coaches they'll let you do what you want to do because they know what you got to do.
How do the coaches perceive that on the sideline, right? When it's like, of course they love the big play, but is there still that, hey, you gotta do your responsibility a little bit though. I know what you see. Of course you build that trust up, but like right in the beginning, how do you build that trust up? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, you have to be consistent. Number one, you have to be consistent in how you play.
Yeah.
The one thing that our coaches can say about most of my career, I was the most consistent defensive player for most of my career in Chicago.
Yeah.
That we had. So, it wasn't like, I'm going to go out there and production's going to go down. Lance is going to get, 10 or more tackles this game. He's going to make plays behind the line of scrimmage. And so I think at some point it was, we don't want to take away from you being able to be a playmaker. We want you to go out, be a playmaker.
Yeah.
And I think, we started putting in certain, blitzes that I could call. I could to pick a lineman, make a blitz call, and then we could run a game. We had gotten to a really fun level, with the Bears, and it was, even with it really kind of started with me and Anthony Adams, but it got to a level that was just a lot of fun on the football field.
It was you and Anthony yet again, man. You, the Juice, and Anthony all together, man. That's a deadly combination right there.
Oh yeah.
Who was the quarterback that you remember that was very much the right decision at the wrong speed guy that y'all loved playing against?
Wait, say that question one more time.
Who was the quarterback, right? Like Cam Jordan basically said that Kirk Cousins he makes the right decision, but he makes it too slow. Who was that guy that y'all loved playing against?
Shoot. Any Mike Martz offense, they did a seven step drop, and instead of running 10, 11, 12-yard routes, they're running 18, 19, 20-yard routes, and we're like, with no max protection, we're going to sack these guys all day. That's why Mark Bolger had to retire from the game. It's just
we had a Mike Martz offense.
I know.
Hey, we got strays all over the place today, man. Hey, listen.
You sure do.
Oh, I love it.
You sure do.
Hey, let's keep this thing moving along. Lance said, any Mike Martz offense. To any quarterback in the Mike Martz offense, Lance is sorry that you had to endure.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man. Hey, I think didn't Jay say that about Mike too? He said Mike was out there basically just playing Madden sometimes. Like he running a 12-step drop with an 18-yard route, and you're trying to get the ball out.
It's tough. I'm telling you, it was tough, and it was a fight. I know the offensive coaches were fighting the O-line coach. I'm trying to remember his name right now, but he was always trying to say, "Hey, listen, we gotta add a blocker. All these routes that take time, and we can't protect against these guys. These guys have a mad pass rush, so we got to get some more protection. We got to give him more time." And it was always a fight that was a losing battle. And Jay Cutler kind of took the brunt of that.
Yeah, poor Jay. Jay got quite a few sacks off of that. It's funny. See, this is the best part, right? Like everybody, as the fan, you're watching it and you're like, man, why is he taking so many steps for this route? But people will tell you, well, you don't know what's going on in there. You don't know what's going on. It's funny to know, like, right, we're all thinking that, and even everybody in the building is like, hey, why is he taking so many steps? We need him not to be doing this as much.
Right.
Hey.
Right.
Oh, man. Hey, before this show gets off the rails, let's head on to the third quarter here, Lance.
Third quarter.
There's a lot of strays going on. Speaking of strays, though, there's stuff falling out in the sky out west. We got stuff. We got aliens in the West. Apparently, this is a real story on like CNN and everything. There's 10-foot tall people standing in people's backyards here. We got a video on this, EO. We got a video. Let's see what the video is.
Let me see this video.
It's a scene straight out of the X-Files. A family in Las Vegas insisting something is out there after allegedly having a close encounter of the third kind.
I swear to God, this is not a joke.
One witness calling 911 after they say an object fell out of the sky and landed in their backyard.
They're like 9 foot, 10 foot tall. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes, they have big eyes.
The mysterious object that fell from the sky, even the officers apparently saw that. The green glow of the alleged UFO is seen on this newly released body camera footage.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
So when that 911 call came in, less than an hour later, police were ready to believe it.
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
Because I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard? Or?
But after a brief investigation of the yard, officers closed the case as unfounded.
If those 9 foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
According to former intelligence officer David Grush, an alien crash landing isn't too far-fetched. Grush recently turned over documents to Congress claiming the U.S. government has a vast collection of vehicles that have non-human origin. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
So, Lance, are you a believer? Is somebody out west, are you a believer that aliens have fallen, or was Yao Ming just visiting New Mexico that weekend?
No. Hey, listen, I definitely believe. I believe. This wasn't the first time. I'm sure it wasn't the first time that either an alien, a real alien sighting, or an alien craft fell to the earth, on the surface of the earth. It's interesting now that there's so many more sightings, now that social media and there's so much more, video advancements in the world. So it's getting closer and closer. And of course, you have every country in a space force race right now to get up there. It's interesting, the timing of everything too.
Here's my issue with all of it, right? Nobody else in the house is recording this. Nobody in the house got a video camera. There's got to be 7. I saw 8 people there. There's got to be 8 cell phones in that mug. Nobody's turning the camera on to record the 8 foot tall, 9 foot tall beings out here. Like,
I agree with you.
We gotta. I'm not saying, I don't think that there could be other life out there. There could be life that has come to Earth. But I'm always just like, why do we always get like the grainy video of Bigfoot in the 60s in 2023? Like, I haven't seen a good video out here yet.
It's unexpected. So a lot of stuff is unexpected, and it's probably not. Now, if the alien fell in somewhere in New York City, you're gonna get caught in 4K.
Yeah,
you're gonna get caught in 4K. But if it falls, in the Southwest, in Bufu, out where the hills have eyes, a lot of people is what they've seen out there anyway.
They just running it back. They're just like, oh man, that's just Jim. Jim always back there. He pop up every few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is
What's the weirdest thing you've seen since being out west in the skies, Lance? You got any stories? You got anything you looked up and you was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, I have a few of them. It's classified. You know what I mean? It's classified.
All right. We got the Lance files. The Lance files out here.
I was driving. You know what? I was driving when I was in college. I was driving from Sacramento to Tucson.
Yeah.
That's about a 14-hour drive. All right, just to put in perspective for everybody. I think they're driving far because from the city to the suburbs from Chicago. All right, 14 hours.
Yeah. And
I'm on the back end, and I'm on I took the 8 from San Diego to the 10. And I'd say it's It's like 5, right around daybreak, and I'm looking into the mountains, and I'm just the only car on the road, and I'm looking in the mountains, and I do see something. I'm like, I don't know if I'm tired or if I see something on the top of that mountain, So I was playing mind games with myself, for the next hour and a half, because there was nothing else to really see. It was so dark outside. You can see every galaxy in the sky in Arizona, which is cool. But on the top of the mountain, there was an object, and I rolled the window down. I pulled over. I stopped. I looked, and listen, whatever. It looked like a UFO, and I stand on that. That's my story.
Hey,
and I'm sticking to it.
I'm not mad at it. I can't say that I've seen any UFOs in my life, but I've seen a lot of large people, and I can't imagine seeing somebody 10 feet tall in my backyard. Like if you've played against quite a few tall people in your day. What is your if you walk up on a 10-foot tall alien, what's the first thing that's going through your mind?
Stare clear. Find out what this but I'm pretty sure it's not me. All right, pretty sure it's not me. History says, folks, we're not good prisoners. You know what I mean? We're not good for ransom. So I don't think he's looking for me. Oh.
Good for ransom. Was that when Cat Williams did that?
Bargaining chips.
I have 12. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, dog. That with the classic, bro. That mess had me dying.
Do you believe that giant humans existed?
See, I believe that there's a lot of things, because we have the ocean, and we don't know half of the stuff that's in there. So I absolutely believe that there were giants. I believe that there probably still are in some cases. That's probably why we have 7 foot.
There's evidence of giants.
Guys like Victor Wembanyama.
Well, there's a lot of evidence of bones, and I'm not talking just in little areas. There's pockets all over the world where they have dug up bones of 8, 9, 10, and 10 plus human beings.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that could have been. But see, here's the thing. I believe Bigfoot is real. I really do. I believe that dragons was real. Call me crazy, call me whatever you want, but you can't tell me that these are far-fetched things with half of the animals and things that we've seen on the earth. And because we haven't seen it. It's like, you want to know why? He knows how to stay out of your view. That's what that is.
Correct. That's correct. With some government help, he can stay out of view. But they dug up 56 giant bodies in Nevada.
Ooh, see, here's the thing, Lance. You unlocking the conspiracy theorist in me. I'm gonna have to get on the internet and start doing some digging on this one now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is most people don't dig. We're not looking for it, and so when you dig and you research stuff, you'll be amazed. You're like, wow, I had no idea there were so many papers about these giant bodies being uncovered.
Yeah.
In the earth. And so but it's cool. Yeah, I read a paper on it. It was a newspaper that came out that talked about the 56 bodies that were dug up and found, and they were like, these are abnormally large human bones.
Yeah.
With jaw structures, and all this stuff. So it's unique, man. It's unique.
Why is the West Coast so drawn to these things? Is it the heat? Like they not alien and giants and stuff? They not rocking with the winters.
I don't know. Maybe it's just like it's a safer landing spot. You know what I mean? You know, like helicopters can only land in certain areas.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, the west coast of America is just or the southwest. It's just a nicer landing spot for us.
Yeah, more room, just more room. Plenty of desert. Got a nice strip out there. It's all good, man. Hey, let's get this thing back on track, man. I love it. The Lance Files, ladies and gentlemen. That was Twilight Zone. Don't worry about it. Let's get to this topic. Fourth quarter is here.
Fourth quarter.
Lance, we got the NBA Finals possibly closing out tonight. You're out west. Will Denver finish this thing off, or will Miami back against the wall fight it out and get this thing back to Miami?
I hope Miami does. Miami is they're the Cinderella story, I think, this year for the NBA and being in the finals. You know, they're the team to root for me. You know, I know there's a lot of strong Denver fans in this world. They're very loyal. You know, but for me, you know, you look. It kind of squeaked into the play, but in the playoff, you know, they played some inspiring ball, and I hope that continues. They find a way to get themselves back to Miami.
It's so crazy because when I see Jokic, it's so crazy because when I see Jokic, I keep telling everybody that what we're seeing from him is very Jordan-like. It's very Kobe-like. It's very like, oh, we're gonna make this adjustment to really try and slow you down. And Jokic is literally just going, that's cute. It's not gonna work, but that's cute. I'm glad that y'all tried. I'm really glad y'all had this game plan in place, but I'm gonna just kick the ball over there, or I'm gonna just go down here and finish this off. What do you do when you have that figure standing across from you, right? You've played against arguably what a lot of people would call the GOAT and Tom Brady, where there's this guy that I can do all of this, or even Aaron Rodgers, right? We can do everything perfect. And he could still kill us if we needed to. How's the mentality going into that game of we got to figure out a way to stop this guy?
One of the ways that I think you can, you know, and I see some of the teams doing it is them trying to make sure, you know, if you know Jokic is going to score what he's going to score. We can keep everybody else from scoring, and let's say Jokic goes for 46, you know, we can minimize what this team can do against us. You know, and so I think that's been some of the approaches that teams have been trying against him.
It's tough because he's just so good, man. I mean, he's dominant. He can attack, and I think that unfortunately tonight is probably the night that Denver gets their first NBA championship. But I will
Probably
say
so.
The tough part about all of it is the NBA season is coming to an end, and we've had the wildest NBA season that I can remember in my lifetime. The storylines on this season are hilarious. We've got some great funny moments from this season. They still continue, like Zion and Mariah Mills. That's all just needs to die down and go away as soon as possible. But what are some of the funniest moments that you can think of from this season?
Are they having a baby?
So they're not having a baby, but he's having a baby with another chick, and now she is upset, which means that she's outing everything that her and Zion have done. And $25,000 wires to Mariah Mills. Zion. Very petty.
Don't be petty. Guys, don't be petty. Everybody, he doesn't serve any goodness to anybody. He doesn't serve anything but more harm and pain. Yeah.
They love the petty. But what's some of the funniest moments of the season for you this season, Lance? I mean, we had a bunch of them.
Well, I don't know if that's the funniest, but the best moment of this season was my Sacramento Kings reaching the playoffs. You know, I was just really proud of them. You know, it's been a long time, and with everything going on, that's funny. That's no joke.
That's a bar. That's a bar. I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, I was looking through some of these though. I ain't gonna lie to you. We should have knew this season was going off the rails the second Jimmy Butler had hair. Jimmy Butler with the dreads was a classic moment.
The golden tips. Yeah, golden tips. Golden tips.
I mean, we had LeBron.
And the problem with that too is, you know, that there were people in his camp that were telling him, hey, that looks hot, man. Hey, listen, hey, I like that. You need to keep that, you know? And that's a problem. You know what I mean? If you have friends like that, you don't need enemies.
The importance of a good camp is what you said. He's gotta have better people around him, is what you said.
Somebody keep it real. Say, hey, Jim, don't do that no more, man. No, don't do it no more. They're not paying you enough for that.
Hey, listen, maybe he needs to do that every. Oh God, here's the picture on the screen. Come on now,
there it
Jimmy.
is.
Come on now, Jimmy. What's going on here, man? That's tough. That's tough.
But, you know, regardless of what his hair looks like, he's still a hell of a basketball player.
Oh man, I mean, how do you rate Jimmy? Right? Like, that's the tough part about this. How do you rate him when it's all said and done, right? Like, when you look at his career, he's been to the NBA Finals twice. He's literally gone to places and basically dragged some of these teams to winning cultures. He provides the winning culture. How do you rate him as a player among the grand scheme of things of guys who have, you know, played in the NBA?
Well, right now he's certainly considered elite. Yeah. You know, when you talk about elite, that's a small group. He's a part of that elite group, you know, and watching how his career continues or finishes, you know, let's say he takes this, you know, they win this game, it goes to 7 and somehow the Heat win, that solidifies it for him. Yeah. You know, but if it doesn't, you know, and they put some more pieces together in Miami, they find themselves back and, you know, in the NBA Finals, whatever. You know, I think his story is still unwritten. It's unfinished. I would say that it's unfinished, and that's a good thing. But what you said, you know, he's taken some teams that were kind of, you know, low level teams. You know, they were kind of in the dumps, and he's changed the cultures. You know, and that's huge.
He's such a culture builder. Like, that's why, listen, when the Bulls got rid of him, I was just like, all right, I don't know what we're doing at this point. We starting off with Zach. I like Zach, right? But like, to me, Jimmy walks in the building and he says, we're gonna win. And this is, I don't know how we're gonna get there, but we're gonna win. And everybody else is just like, okay, Jimmy said we're gonna win. Let's go win. And it actually happens. Like, the culture that Jimmy Butler brings with him, he's got to be one of the best culture setters in the NBA, if nothing else, right? Like that's one part with a guy like LeBron walking in.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, and I also think it's one of those deals where it's you know, look, if I'm not hot tonight, I'm dishing it to you. You know, we're gonna find who the hot guy is today, and we're gonna ride with it. You know, and I think when it comes to leadership and
we fought hard. I think Lance is in the mountains. I think we finally lost Lance. We fought hard all the way to the end of the podcast, and I think that Lance might be finally gone. It was going so well. We do have a screenshot to make sure that this is entertaining. Should we kill it here, EO? Should we just end it here? Yeah, Lance is gone. Hey, man, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love as always. Got a good eye. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed that he fought that hard. His signal is working overtime. Shout out to whatever company he's got out west, man. Hey, appreciate you guys for tuning in for another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Make sure that you guys are tuned in Monday through Friday as we're gonna have Courtney in here, Yurko in here, Jason in here, man. We're gonna have so much fun this week, so stay tuned in with us. Mini camp is here. Do love a little mini camp. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again for Lance Briggs out there with the aliens. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.